The meeting of the Board of Regents of the Texas Tech University System is now called to order. The board will continue in open session and meet as a committee of the whole and the meeting of the board. So a special welcome today to Dr. Skubanek, who is going to join us. Just wanted to make sure that you know that we noticed you were gone.
Thank you, Chairman Lancaster. I apologize for not being here. You know how much that bothered me.
Yes, sure. Sure, Lauren.
That's why we wanted to make notice.
Thank you.
We're glad that you're here today. You notice that your other partner, Dr. May, is not here today. So.
Yeah, I set a bad example.
They rotate.
We would like to recognize Dr. Lang that has made both days.
Thank you, sir. I noticed that myself.
Well, we're glad all of you are here. So we'll start with the introductions and recognitions. Chancellor and President Mitchell.
Thank you, sir. Our first recognition is for Justin Noble. Justin, stand up. Justin is the Assistant Chief Audit Executive. He was recently elected to serve as President of the Board of Directors for the Association of College and University Auditors. This is a big deal, and in fact, it's such a big deal that Justin sent a notice around that for the next year, he wants people to address him as Mr. President. Justin was elected to this position by representatives of over 500 institutions of higher education across the country. This is a one-year term that started in September of this year. He previously served as the vice president for the organization from 2017 until 2018, and prior to that time, he spent 3 years as a board member at large. He's been with our system Office for Audit Services since 2009. He leads a team of 8 auditors in conducting compliance, operational, financial, and fraud reviews across the system's institutions. He actually began his auditing career and nearly 2 years as a student assistant in audit services. He completed his Master of Architecture and Master of Business Administration from Texas Tech University, and he started his career at UT Southwestern Medical School. Then he worked for Southwest Airlines before returning to his alma mater. Please join me in congratulating Justin on this accomplishment. Next, we have Mr. Tim Barrett. Tim's not here, but Tim Barrett is the Chief Investment Officer. But he's just been recently, he's received a huge accolade, and I wanted to point out to the board. Tim was selected for the 2018 Power 100 list by CIO, Chief Investment Officer magazine. This is the 3rd consecutive year that Tim's been named to this list. This year's list celebrates investment leaders who excel in both innovation and collaboration, as well as their ability to maintain confidence in their assets in unpredictable markets. Those of you, all the regents are aware of the fact that Tim has been working diligently with us for the last several years with our investment portfolio, and he and his team, I think most of the regents have probably seen their operations in Austin. The presidents have all gone down there to see their operations, and it's quite impressive. Tim's been a real asset to us since starting. So even though Tim's not here, let's give him a round of applause. I have my next introduction is Regent Rick Francis. If you'd please stand up, Regent Francis. Go ahead, you can do this. Regent Francis, this is him with our own Dr. Lang and Regent Robert Brown. You couldn't keep standing? Last week, Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso hosted a dedication ceremony for the street on its campus that has officially been named the Rick Francis Street. The naming honors his significant contributions to the development of Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso, as well as his long-standing service to the community. The naming was proposed and unanimously approved earlier this year. Those of you that have been around long enough to see that area in El Paso, the transformation has been remarkable. When I first started at the Health Sciences Center, we had a gorgeous medical education building and a gorgeous medical science building. But in order for the students to get to the clinics, they had to walk in front of Senior Frogs. Wasn't that the name of it? Okay, Senior Frogs was a bar/greasy spoon by day and a biker hangout/cockfighting place by night. And I'm not kidding. And all behind there, heading south, were a number of properties that were just in remarkably terrible states of disrepair. And over time, through lots of work from lots of people led by folks that are also leadership for Texas Tech, the place is absolutely transformed. So, Regent Francis, we are excited to have you as part of the team.
Are you saying that Senior Frogs is gone?
Okay, I will tell you that my first official act when I was president was to have us purchase that property and cut it down.
I mean, there was a lot of therapeutic stuff happening.
Yeah. It was better than their mental health facility. All right, the last one I have is Mr. Tim Lancaster.
What's that?
Look behind you. Regent Lancaster in September was named the 2018 Outstanding Citizen of the Year by the Abilene Chamber of Commerce. Anyone who knows Tim knows this honor was well-deserved and a no-brainer. He has led the Hendrick Health System as its CEO and president since 2004, and the Hendrick System serves a 19-county area with 500 beds and 3,400 employees. So leading this organization is not a simple task. And on top of that, he volunteers his time for the betterment of the community in the region. And of course, he's also volunteered his time and leadership to Texas Tech since 2013. He was notable among a group of Abilene community members that made it possible for our Health Sciences Center in Abilene, including our School of Nursing, our School of Pharmacy, our School of Health Professions, and now looking to the future for our School of Public Health. So, Regent Lancaster, we're all proud of the work you do as well. So,
Part of that picture is grandson Hooper holding, so that's the best part of that picture.
That's awesome.
those are all of the introductions I have. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. All right, Dr. Lang.
I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Attilio Arazi. He's not a newcomer to you all. You all were kind enough to approve him for tenure last meeting. He's here in Lubbock, so there's two things. One is I'd like to reintroduce him to you and then tell you why he's here, because I think it's indicative of what we're trying to do. He received his initial training in Italy. He's board certified in anatomic and hematopathology there and in the United States as well. He has been a professor at Columbia, a professor at Indiana, and we recruited him a professor at Cornell Weill up in New York. He's authored 250 peer-reviewed medical journals, 72 book chapters. In 2008, we classify hematopoietic and lymphoid cancers, and he wrote 14 of those chapters. When they updated it, he wrote 20 of those chapters. He's a lead author on 4 different books. He's the past chairman of the European Bone Marrow Working Group, the past executive council member of the European Association of Hematopathology, and past president of the New York Pathologic Society. He's the associate director of the Tutorial in Neoplastic Hematopathology, which is the longest continuously running educational program in hematopathology in the world. We recruited him to be the chair of pathology. He was recently in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He travels around the world to give lectures. This is indicative of the type of persons that Ted and I are recruiting to the Health Science Center. He's here because he's working with the chair of pathology here to do joint projects and also to establish a pathology training program in El Paso. So I just wanted you guys to meet him because he's here. He has done great work and he's doing great work. It's a pleasure to serve with Ted, where we're asking what can we do together to improve healthcare and training across all of West Texas. So Attilio, we're so glad you joined us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lang.
Well, Chairman Lancaster, before I begin my introductions, Chancellor Mitchell is asking them to get that picture of you up there again. I think I need to help you out here a little bit. Can you get that up? Well, you
know there's repercussions.
well, you recognize Cooper, but I think you failed to recognize Regina, who's in the background over there.
That just went without saying.
I just wanted to help you out. There's Regina.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Now you're done.
You know, some guys,
Done in more ways.
some guys just don't know when to stop, I guess. I have one introduction, then a couple of commemorations I'd like to make this morning. First, Byron Kennedy, would you stand up? I'm very pleased to announce that Byron has joined the Texas Tech University, moving over from the system as the Vice President for University Advancement. I'm extremely pleased that we now have the benefit of his very strategic thinking, his leadership, and his deep knowledge of fundraising that he gained over the years in the system. So I look very much forward to the way that we will be invigorating and expanding our development efforts at the university, and Byron will be a key part of that leadership. And next, I want to introduce Sarah Bill. She's the executive director of US Prep. But I asked her to be here today because I want to take this opportunity to recognize the memory of Scott Ridley. He passed away this last fall after a battle with cancer. Scott was the dean of the College of Education, and he was passionate about a number of things, primarily making colleges of education relevant to independent school districts. And his focus was primarily in the area of teacher preparation. His efforts there gained the recognition of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2015, they awarded him $7 million to create a program called US Prep. It was a program that was meant to emulate what was happening at Texas Tech and at universities around the country. The very first meeting of this US Prep occurred in Jackson, Mississippi when I was provost. And I got into a cab to go to this meeting, and another gentleman got in that cab with me, and I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Harvard." And I'm here to learn about Tech Teach, which was part of US Prep. And then just last week, we made an announcement that another $9.1 million has been awarded to US Prep, of which $7.2 million came from the Gates Foundation. And that is due to the vision and work of Scott Ridley. But Sarah, please know how much we appreciate your leadership as you carry on the work that relates to teacher preparation. And Dr. Steve Maxner is here today representing the Vietnam Center and Archive. This last fall, Dr. James Reckner, who established the Vietnam Center, passed away. He was a veteran who served in Vietnam, and he was always concerned that students did not know enough about the Vietnam experience. And it was his passion to create an archival collection that has now become a worldwide university resource with more than 20 million pages of documents, photographs, maps, and books, and also equipment used in that war. Steve is very much engaged now in a fundraising effort to build the Vietnam Center, which will be north of the Loop, but it will be a great commemoration to the work and passion of Dr. James Reckner. And Steve, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you all for those reports, and thank you all for being here this morning and what you do every day. Thank you very much. All right, the board will continue in open session and meet as a committee of the whole and meeting of the board. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the board meetings held on October the 4th, October 8th, and October 25th, 2018?
So moved.
A second, John, was a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We will now consider items as a committee of the whole, and I would ask the Vice Chairman Huckabee to preside over the committee of the whole. Mr. Huckabee.
The item is consideration of the consent agenda, items A through P, with item P as revised, as listed on pages 1 through 30 of the agenda book, and the information agenda as listed on pages 31 through 34. Is there any discussion of the items either on the consent or information agendas?
Just one question. So on P, I don't think I have a copy of it, that we did fill in the blanks.
Yes, there was
Yeah, you should have a copy of it.
handed out at your chair.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, all the
Good.
blanks are.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As a reminder, if there are any items that you would like to discuss further, detail or voted on separately from the consent agenda, you may request that the item be moved
to the Committee of the Whole agenda. Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the consent agenda as revised and acknowledge its review of the information agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the items to be considered by the Committee of the Whole at this time.
Thank you, Regent Huckabee. The board will continue meeting in open session to consider reports of the standing committees. Regent Stodmatz, please present the items considered for action by the Finance and Administration Committee.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Administration Committee of the Board met in open session on Thursday, December 13th, 2018, to consider items 1 and 2 as presented at FA1 through FA4 of our agenda book. I request the following items be considered and approved. Item 1, ASU, approved tuition and fee assessment schedule for the fall of semester of 2019. TTU system, authorized chancellor to execute contracts with TouchNet Information Systems Incorporated. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommended approval of this item as presented, and I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Regent Walker, will you present the items considered for action by the Academic, Clinical, and Student Affairs Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Academic, Clinical, and Student Affairs Committee of the board met in open session on Thursday, December 13th, 2018, to consider items 1 and 2 as presented on pages ACS 1 through ACS 3 of the agenda book. I request that both items be considered and approved as a group.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Regent Long, will you present the items considered for action by the Audit Committee?
Mr. Chairman, the Audit Committee of the Board met in open session on Thursday, December 13th, 2018, and considered items 1 as presented on page A1 through A3 of the agenda book. I request the following report be considered and approved. TTU, Texas Tech University System Report on Audits. Mr. Chairman, the Audit Committee also convened an executive session, at which time no action items were considered or approved. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the items as presented, and I so move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the report of the Audit Committee.
Thank you, Regent Long. Regent Esparza, will you present the items considered for action by the Facilities Committee?
Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The Facilities Committee met of the board in open session on Thursday, December 13th, 2018, and considered items 1 through 10 as presented on pages F1 through F19 of the agenda book. I request that the following items be considered and approved as a group. Item 1, Angelo State University, approved total project budget for the Food Service Center renovation project as revised. Item 2, Texas Tech University, approved total project budget for the Weeks Hall renovation project. Item 3, TTU, approved total project budget for the Dustin R. Womble Basketball Center. Item 4, TTU, approved total project budget for a new athletic dining facility. Item 5, TTU, approved naming a new athletic dining facility. Item 6, TTU, authorized expenditures for the football training facility renovation and expansion project. Item 7, TTU, approved total project budget for the abatement and demolition of the Lubbock Municipal Auditorium and Coliseum project. Item 8, Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso, approved scope expansion and budget increase for the Medical Science Building 2 and for the new School of Dentistry Dental Learning Center. The committee also accepted the following reports. Item 9, TTU, report on creating an elite game day experience. And item 10, Texas Tech University System, report on facilities planning and construction projects. Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends approval of the items as presented, and I so move.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, let the record show that I have recused myself on items 2, 3, and 6.
All right, thank you.
In addition, I need to recuse on item number 6.
I also need to recuse on item number 6.
Anyone else want to recuse?
Sorry.
I don't think anybody.
All right, Ben, you have all of those noted then. Thanks for doing that. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Thank you very much. We will continue meeting as the Committee of the Whole and meeting of the Board. Ben, please present the schedule of upcoming board meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You all have these copy of the schedule of meetings for 2019. The one change is adding dates for the October 2019 meeting, October 3rd and 4th. And we would also plan to do the joint investments meeting at that October meeting. So,
Very good, duly noted. Thank you, Ben. Next, we'll hear from our student government presidents. Shana Mullen, would you like to present the SGA report for Angelo State University?
Okay. This on? It is. So good morning, everybody. I'm Shana Mullen. I'm the student government president for Angelo State University. And with me today, I have my vice president, Braden Woods. Want to raise your hand? I have our president pro tempore, Austin Habecker. And then I have one of our senators and also the committee chair for the Transportation Committee, Caleb Conaway. All right. So we're just going to go over some of the stuff that we've done for the fall semester of 2018. We dedicated the month of November to Military Appreciation Month, and every Friday was Red Friday. And SGA actually participated in the 22 push-up challenge, and that was filmed. We did 22 push-ups for the 22 lives that are lost every day to veteran suicide. So we also did a military care package drive. So we got a bunch of goods together from all over campus, and we were able to send off a care package to those stationed overseas. We also did a pizza with Mike. So our representative for the Tom Green County area and all around it, Mike Conaway, came down, and we were able to have a student town hall with him, and I'd be able to ask questions. We also had pizza and drinks just to get the students involved in those areas. We had some student town halls, so students were able to come to our Student Services Committee and kind of voice their opinions on anything that's going on campus, and we were able to report those opinions back to administration. We did a night walk. So the Student Services Committee came together with Vice President Angie Wright and the Director of our Risk Management, Sam Spooner, and they walked all over campus at nighttime to kind of see where areas need to be better lit on campus, or they need to replace any bulbs or anything like that, just to make sure the campus is as safe as possible for students. On election day, SGA sponsored a shuttle bus to take students to different polling places if they didn't have a ride off campus, in order to encourage students to go out there and vote. Our Christmas tree lighting and our Day of Giving was a great success this year. We added more trees, and we were able to have the entire community come out, and all of the money that raised this year for the Day of Giving was going to be sent to the Fiat Lux campaign, which is a scholarship for students on campus, and it was a huge success, and we were able to raise a lot of money. And then finally, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board Student Representative informational session is actually happening. That's a mouthful, but it's happening today, this afternoon. So SGA members are going to be able to meet with Michelle Tran, who was the last student representative, and she's going to kind of give an informational session as to what the student representative does for the Texas Higher Educating Coordinating Board, and SGA members are going to be able to apply. We really want to encourage an ASU student to apply this year, so that's what's happening today. But our main focus for the spring semester, well, here are some pictures. So we have the Christmas tree lighting. That was a huge success. We had our shuttle, and then that's pizza with Mike. So for the spring, we're having our legislative trip in March with Texas Tech. So we're going to go to the Capitol and kind of meet with all of the state senators and participate in the legislative and everything like that. Our student discount program is growing, which is a great success for student government. We're having a safety week, so we're partnering with communications and marketing and then safety and risk management in UPD to kind of raise awareness. It's kind of like a see something, say something campaign, and kind of talk about safety on campus with students. The Rammies is always a big highlight of the spring semester. It's a big banquet and award ceremony for all of the organizations on campus. About 500 students attend that every year. Student endowment fundraising. So in the fall, one of our very own professors, Mr. Manny Campos, has a birthday bash every year, and he raised over $3,500 for the student endowment fund that SGA started. And then after that, because of different fundraising, we were able to raise another, during the Day of Giving, another $1,000. So that was just in the fall semester. We want to increase that in the spring semester and hopefully be able to hand out 2 or 3 scholarships this year to students that apply instead of just 1. So that's a big thing that I'm proud of. And the main thing that we want to focus on in the spring, that's also a big event, is going to be our HPV vaccination event. So in the spring of 2018, Tristan Fielder was able to coordinate with Dr. Celeste Caballero and the Concho Valley County Medical Society and other community partners such as Shannon. ASU donated a little, and we were able to administer 60 HPV vaccinations for free to students on campus. Now, HPV is a it's the most common sexually transmitted virus, and it affects over 79 million Americans, especially young adults. And without the vaccination, HPV can cause cervical cancer, oropharyngeal cancer, and a couple other cancers as well. And it's an extremely important vaccination for young adults to have, but it's $199 a dose. And a lot of students cannot afford that, and you need 3 doses in order to get the full vaccination. And Texas actually ranks the lowest for HPV vaccination. So the Immunize Local Impact Grant is $2,500, and Shannon donates, and then ASU donates, and we're trying to gather other donors because we want to be able to administer 100 free vaccines for students who don't have it, who haven't had it for the spring semester. So that's what we're mainly focusing on in the spring. Hopefully it'll go well. We're really counting on donor money to get this done, but it was extremely successful last semester, and we want to make sure it's even bigger, and we're actually going to focus more on educating the students on exactly what HPV is. We're going to have a video that's shown in one of the theater rooms and hopefully educate and help administer those vaccines for the spring semester. But that is all I have to present to you guys today. Any questions?
I would like to commend you for your work in shining a bright light on the military suicide rate. It's out of control. It's higher than it's been after any previous war. It has to do with the all-volunteer Army and these young men and women being exposed to the horrors of war through 4 and 5 tours, and much, much work in the mental health arena needs to be done on it. Thank you for bringing attention to it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shana. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Thanks for all y'all are doing. All right, Sean, you want to present the SGA report for Texas Tech University.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. Student government has had, well, I wanted to show you all this. We changed it to fit the more festive time of the year, so I appreciate that. But we've had a great semester, and I'm excited to share some updates with you. In November, we polled the student body, and we asked them what they wanted to hear and talk about in our town hall. And overwhelmingly, they said they wanted to talk about mental health and wellness. So what we did was we hosted a town hall in which students, faculty, and staff members came and they heard a presentation from the Student Wellness Center and RISE, which is Risk Intervention Safety Education. Members of Student Affairs were there, and they were present, and they engaged with the students and talked about stress management. We talked about suicide prevention. And this was very important to do as we entered finals time, so equipping students with the skills that they needed to be successful. So we're going to continue our town hall series next semester, and we're changing it this year to have the student body tell us what they would like to talk about versus the Student Government Association mandating the agenda. On the same subject, 2 of our SJ law senators worked with the dean of the law school and other members to develop a wellness center at the law school. The thought behind this is that law students and often graduate students are so focused on their studies, you can barely pull them away from the law school to go eat, let alone to go talk to someone that, talk to a counselor or something of that sort. So they establish a wellness center within the law school, so they only have to walk down the hall to take a break, to talk to someone, and to relax. So that was an important initiative that they set out at the beginning of the semester, and they did the ribbon cutting just a few weeks ago. So we're very proud of them for that. It's On Us is a campaign, a national campaign to combat sexual assault and violence on college campuses throughout the nation. Our external vice president, Jude Al-Hamoud, set this priority of hers, and what we did was we coordinated with the national campaign, and we did an educational campaign on campus, educating students on sexual assault and violence prevention. There you see members of our Student Senate in our free speech area on campus, talking to students, talking to staff and faculty members, and then this is a photo of the pledge that many campus partners and students signed, pledging to recognize and combat against sexual assault and survivors. Another thing that we did is we put together a video comprised of campus leaders, students, and faculty members to show our support for this pledge. And I have the video here for you on the next slide.
It's on us to recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault,
to identify situations in which sexual assault may occur,
to intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given,
to create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported. It's on us.
to take the pledge.
So what we did was we took this national campaign and we branded it to Texas Tech, and providing an opportunity to do continuous education on this, because we feel that it's an important topic for our student body to know and to hear about. And we're going to do a week-long campaign next semester as well. So we're excited. I'm excited to give you guys an update about that next semester. So a few more updates for us. We have Big 12 on the Hill, in which Texas Tech student government will be hosting that coming February. We finally got the legislative calendar from Congress, and we have nailed down some dates for that. So we will be going to Washington and advocating for issues pertaining to higher education. Student safety, we have been fortunate to work with the President's office to do an educational campaign on student safety, encouraging students to sign up for Tech Alert, and encouraging students to, and educating them on what to do if something were to happen on campus and off campus and in their community, and who they should get in contact with. So we are proud to get that going next semester as well. Regional campus outreach. Dr. Duran has been very helpful with us in developing a plan to get in contact with our regional campuses and ensuring that they're part of the larger Texas Tech community, and they feel included at the table. So we are looking at how we can make that happen with our student government, whether that's Skyping them in or just letting them have their voice be heard, and we can convey their message to our administration. And then community outreach, again, is another important aspect of our administration. That is not only serving our Texas Tech student body, but having our student members and student senators be active in the Lubbock community, because they're so very part of our Texas Tech University system. So this is a photo of two of our senators. We had over 30 student government members out in the community. We delivered muffins to every fire station in the city of Lubbock, and we showed our appreciation to them during Fire Safety and Prevention Week, and let them know that we recognize the work that they do and that we're here to support them, even if it's in the smallest way of giving them muffins on a Saturday morning. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. All right. Thank you.
All right, John, thank you very much. Great report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, Brooke, tell us about what's happening at the Health Science Center.
No attempt on the last name?
I just let it go. I thought I was safe. I thought I was safe on the Brooke part. Okay, give it to us, Brooke. What is it? Walter Scheid?
You got it.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear from Brooke Walterscheid.
I'm impressed. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Good morning, everyone. So I have the report for the T2HSC student government. So these were our four main goals. We've kind of brought them back down to three. As you'll see, our third goal will be more addressed in spring 2019 to actually implement the renovations that we have planned in the Synergistic Center, which is our student space. But going on to our first goal, which was to enhance SGA's visibility to students and faculty. We found that overwhelmingly, our students really didn't know who represented them. So we started a Senator Spotlight campaign on social media just to remind our followers of their representatives. And once we started this campaign, we saw about an 18% increase in the number of Facebook likes we have, and doubling in our Instagram followers. So this is a really critical way to ensure proper dissemination of student information as they are using social media to gain information about their school and their programs. Next, another critical way to enhance SGA's visibility is through community service. Back in October, we participated in the Lubbock Heart Walk. We had about 15 students do the walk, and we also raised $620 just through a Facebook donation campaign. We also served over 150 hours of community service through local partners such as the Morris Safe House, Family Promise Lubbock, where we provided some very critical mentorship to at-risk youth, and also the South Plains Food Bank. Now, going a little bit further into the South Plains Food Bank donation, on December 7th, we held our annual student holiday extravaganza. This is a time where we decorate the Synergistic Center for the holidays. We provide food. Lots of apple cider and coffee was distributed during that time, and we had several hundred students come through the Synergistic Center for lunch in the midst of their finals, so they were very appreciative of that. We also had a door prize drawing for items that were donated by local community partners, as well as items that were purchased through Varsity Bookstore, so lots of tech gear for the holidays. But to enter our door prize drawing, students had to donate either canned food or cash to be donated to the South Plains Food Bank. So we were helping their cause and ensuring that people have food, especially over the winter months. As you can see, we also had students dress up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So Mr. and Mrs. Claus took many photo opportunities with students, and once that was done, them and their elves then spread holiday cheer to our pediatric ward patients, bringing them coloring books, doing carols, and this year Mr. Claus came equipped with many Santa-level dad jokes, such as, what does Santa eat for breakfast? Snowflakes. It's pretty weak, but the kids loved it.
He's an HSE student.
Another one of our goals was to promote a value-based culture among students. So back in October, we hosted our Student Leadership Conference. We had about 60 of our senators in attendance, which was excellent turnout. We had our keynote speaker was Dr. Brent Schneider, who's Dean of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, and he spoke on how to integrate the values that were initially established into our everyday student culture. And when speaking with him, we all recognize that the TTO-HSC has an excellent student culture. It's a place where students want to come because of the student culture. And so we want to ensure that that culture is maintained going forward into the next future generations of students. And lastly, we wanted to promote leadership development among senators. And a major part of that was reminding our senators of the power and the voice that they have to affect change within the institution. So in terms of legislation, I was looking through our past archives of legislation over the 19 years that the T2HSC has had a student government. And there have been 42 pieces of legislation throughout those 19 years. 22 of them were from this semester. So this really speaks to our senators using their voices to both recognize outstanding achievements in the university, as well as recognizing areas that we can improve. So this semester, we passed legislation for the creation of a Student Organization of the Month Award, so recognizing student organizations that have really gone above and beyond their call to service to the students in the community. We established a student seat on the safety committee. We believe that students have a very critical voice to be heard in terms of student safety. Encouraging the exploration of new streaming services, just better ways to enhance student learning outcomes. Supporting the Life Cycle Technology Replacement Fund. I met with our CIO this week, and we discussed how to engage students in technology replacement. And in the spring, there will be a student from each school serving on that replacement fund committee to ensure that our schools are equally represented and that we are maintaining the technology across all schools to ensure equality. We also passed several pieces of congratulatory legislation to recognize outstanding student group and faculty efforts, and that's just a way to show our faculty and our staff that students are recognizing their outstanding contributions to the university. In spring 2018, Some of our plans are to work with the Mental Health Institute to provide a mental health first aid training to TTU HSE students. This was something that had been open to all TTU students, both at the HSE and main campus, and we would like to do one exclusively for HSE students so that they have better access to that training. And we believe that HSE students have a very unique position in being equipped with mental health first aid training, both as students and as future healthcare providers. We will be implementing the further renovations to the Student Synergistic Center, and we also hope to host a large community service event. We will be perhaps partnering with our new T2 HSC Run Club to host a large 5K on campus. And that is all I have for y'all today. Do I have any questions about anything? All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Brooke Walterscheid, for that report. Excellent job.
Couldn't resist, right?
Couldn't resist. One more time. Okay, be gentle with me on this one. Sajid Leilani. Okay, how close is it?
That was very close.
Will you go with that?
Sajid Leilani, but you know.
That's what I meant.
That's probably closer than
was
most
nowhere
people
close.
guess. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you guys again for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's going on with T2 HSC El Paso. So we had a Veterans Day wall, and where students who are veterans were able to submit pictures and information about themselves, whether it's a quote that they like or information about just kind of why they served. And it was more so for the general student body to recognize who among us have served, so that they can be sure to thank those for their service. And we had some cookies and other treats available, and you'd be surprised how much that draws students. So it was really nice, and a lot of the veterans they felt appreciated, which was great. The Office of Institutional Advancement also hosted the annual Cookies, Cocoa, and Holiday Cheer. And this is just an event that allows us to reach out to the El Paso community, have them join us for a night of just celebration. We have people dressed in costume. There's refreshments available, and it's just a really good way for us to reach out and get the community informed on who we are a little bit more if they don't know already. And then we had our holiday luncheon for students and faculty and staff just about a week ago, and it was a good time for graduate students, nursing students, medical students, faculty, everybody to kind of come together, have a meal. We had a lot of turkey, but then we also had tamales, so a good mixture. We're a border city, so we like to make it work. And these are some more nursing students and medical students as well, in front of the Al Frederick and Ginger Francis Lecture Hall. I just wanted to also talk about briefly our upcoming volunteer events. So we have our Corazon de Oro Day of Service in the fall. We're going to be having the MLK Junior Day of Service in the spring. And this is an event that we have partnered with the SCI program, which is the Society, Community, and Individual program at the medical school, which is sort of focused on public health. And what's great about this day of service is that all these projects come from medical student ideas. So these are fresh first-year medical students in their first couple of weeks. They come up with these ideas, and they come together and say, hey, which ideas do we like the best? And we take those ideas and we actually put them into action. And what's really great about this is that we can show future physicians and also future healthcare professionals here, that the impact that you really can have with just a simple idea. So we are going to be having 6 events across El Paso, encompassing 7 sites. We're going to be going to Fabens, Montana Vista, Horizon City, Solon Park, San Elizario, the downtown and the northeast, and we're going to be targeting different populations. For example, in the northeast, we're going to be having a health fair for veterans to target common health issues such as depression, alcoholism. And we're going to be having, for example, in downtown, we're going to be having a community kitchen to educate people there on healthy eating and healthy cooking. Sunland Park, we're going to be focused, this is actually from Sunland Park last year, that is focused on literacy in the youth, and we partner with different organizations like Barnes & Nobles. We partner with Books Are Gems, which is an organization that donates books to across El Paso for free, just for children. And then the main site is actually our Fabens site, where we're going to be targeting water quality in the region. The students who went into the Fabens area, they went to the University Medical Center clinic over there, and they were told about, how the water, I mean, even in the schools over there, you open the tap and the water comes out and it's not clear. And so that kind of really affected a lot of students seeing that. And so we're going to be having a fair over there where we're going to be giving away water filters to the public, those like under the sink water filters, so that we can try and target the water quality. And I wish we had the dental school because they would be able to help us out a lot with that. That's water quality is a huge thing for them, but coming soon, right? And then Horizon City and Montana Vista, they're going to be doing combined Get Up and Go Day. We're working with an organization called Base Play that they provide a baseball league for youth in the area to essentially, keep them busy and keep them from going and doing other things. We're partnering with them we're going to be having a health fair as well as a baseball game. So we're going to have medical students versus the fire department with the children being the umpires. And then the winner of that game is going to be playing the children. So it's just to encourage kids to get up and get active, as well as educate the public on different health topics. So we're really excited about that, and we're in full gear working on that. So, and that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions. Okay.
All right, excellent
Thank you.
report. Thank you. Thank all four of you for your reports. It's always interesting to see what your priorities are for each of the campuses, and then all the many accomplishments that you're having. So thank you very much for what you're doing. All right, the board will now convene an executive session as authorized by sections 551071, 551072, 551073, and 551074 of the Texas Government Code. The board will now convene into open session. Mr. Huckabee, please present the motions regarding the items discussed in executive session.
Mr. Chairman, there are no action items of any kind to be taken of the items posted and discussed in executive session.
All right, thank you, Regent Huckabee. Final item of business is announcements. Are there any announcements at this time from anyone? Anyone? All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting of the Board of Regents, the Texas Tech University System stands adjourned.
Started at 1, ended at 10.